Well, the Baltimore Orioles take the final game and the series from the Toronto Blue Jays in this series of 4, and they win 10-4 today. Now, the Orioles had been going through a very rough stretch for the past kind of month, about since the going into the All-Star break, I would say. They were having a really rough stretch. The hitters were struggling hitting. They were at a time like 1 for, I say, 35 with runners in scoring position over a 4 or 5 game stretch from the Cubs to the Yankees series, and things have looked very bleak lately. But following in my opinion, pretty decent deadline, the Orioles look like they're finally turning things around against a not-so-good Toronto Blue Jays team. To begin, we had our second-best pitcher available on the mound today in Grayson Rodriguez, and I think he was outstanding. He went 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, which aren't necessarily great, but he also had 8 strikeouts on the other side of that. So when you have a lot of strikeouts, you can kind of balance out the walks. And that's something Cade Povich needs to work on, as we saw in Game 2 of the doubleheader on Monday. Now, as far as the Orioles lineup goes, Cowser went 2 for 5 with a home run and an RBI, and man, he is just on some sort of tear right now. I think he has, a 13-game hit streak, and he's just really on some sort of tear right now for the Baltimore Orioles. He's slugging great. Santander went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Pache came in as a defensive replacement. Gunnar Henderson went 2 for 4, and it's nice to see him get things going to plate. He had a triple today and a walk and an RBI, so it's good to see him turning things around. O'Hearn went 0 for 4 with an RBI, although he had a couple pretty hard hit balls. Mountcastle went 1 for 4 with a triple, and he also had 2 RBIs in this game as well, and on that triple, and he also had a walk. And he really just loves hitting against these Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, I don't really know what it is, but he loves them. And Cedric Mullins went 2 for 2 with 3 walks. They're afraid of him. He's also on a tear. It's so good to see Ceddy back in business. Westberg 0 for 2. He got hit on the hand in his third at bat, and he stayed in the game to run the bases, but he came out of the game after that. And it turns out he does have a fractured right hand and will miss probably the remainder of the season, unfortunately. So we'll see who comes up to replace him. It's potentially going to be Leavin Soto, or I'm hoping Kobe Mayo, but doesn't seem like it's going that way. Urias came in to replace him, went 1 for 1 with a walk. And Jackson Holliday, the star of the game, he went 1 for 5, but he had 4 RBIs with his first career home run, and it was a grand slam. I mean, gets in a 1-2 count. Gets a, I think, slider kind of middle in on the plate, and he crushes that thing. 439 feet way out onto Utah Street for his first career home run and first career grand slam. And he went 0 for the rest of his at-bats, only 1 strikeout, but the rest of his at-bats, the first 2 he grounded out. But then after the home run, he had 2 really hard hit balls. One kind of off the top of the wall in the left field that looked like it might have been fair and debatably could have been a 3-run home run, but the umpire crew ruled it foul, and even after a challenge, they deemed it was a foul ball. And another one, pretty hard hit, about 100 miles, 340 feet out into left field. And last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend himself, James McCann, went 1 for 4 with a walk. It is so impressive to see him playing. He's got a weird mask on his face just because of all the swollenness going around on the right side, especially on his nose and his eye. And, man, he is just a legend for sure. Grayson, as I said, went 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks to 8 strikeouts. Keegan Aiken pitched an inning, 1 strikeout. Craig Kimbrell came in, did walk somebody, but got 2 strikeouts and no allowed runs, so that's good to see from him. I know it was a 6-run lead, but it's still good to see. And finally, Burt Smith came in to finish the game, gave up 1 hit, no strikeouts, no earned runs. So pretty all-around fantastic game from the Baltimore Orioles, and a pretty good series besides Game 2 of the doubleheader, but Cade Povich just wasn't it that night. So other than that, they pretty much dominated this series against the Toronto Blue Jays, and hopefully they can carry that into the next series against the Cleveland Guardians, who they will take on tomorrow evening at, I believe, 6 p.m. Or 6:30. It's unknown who the starting pitcher will be for that game. But it is safe to say there's a good chance it's going to end up being the newly acquired Trevor Rogers, as none of the other pitchers are selected for that game either. We'll see how the rotation looks with Eflin and Rogers acquired. We'll see if Suarez goes back to the bullpen, which I would imagine is pretty likely with Cole Irvin getting DFA'd. But all around, fantastic game from the Orioles. It's so good to see this from Jackson Holliday. He struggled his first time up. I think it was because they called him up during a slump and maybe he wasn't ready, but I think he's ready now. I mean, clearly that absolute bomb just showed us that he has what it takes. And he hit 2 really other hard-hit balls out to left field. But other than that, I'd say a pretty all-around fantastic game from the Baltimore Orioles, and happy to see them turning the corner here finally. Unfortunately, they're still only a half a game up on the Yankees because the Yankees are now on a 5-game winning streak after sweeping a 4-game series with the Philadelphia Phillies. But we move on to a 4-game series against Cleveland and then back to Toronto after that. That's about all I've got on this game, and I think I'll start uploading some more soon. See ya.